He mocked Earth's deadliest creature. She smiled and let it bite him. Once Ambassador Zexthul had seen many species across the galaxy, but humans never failed to amuse him. Their soft pink flesh, their fragile bones, their laughably short lifespans. How had such a pathetic species ever made it to the stars? Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the Galactic Council Xenobiology panel, her presentation screen displaying images of Earth's fauna. The towering Zexthul, with his chitinous exoskeleton and razor-sharp mandibles, clicked dismissively at each creature she showed. "Your great white shark," he scoffed, his translator converting his clicks into standard galactic. "My homeworld's tide hunters would consume a dozen before breakfast." Sarah nodded politely, advancing to the next slide. The saltwater crocodile, child's play. Our stone crushers make your reptiles look like hatchlings. The other council members, the ethereal voidlings, the crystalline resonance, and the gaseous nebula collective, watched with varying degrees of interest. They had all submitted their homeworld's apex predators for the xenobiology database. The humans were the last to present. "The African elephant," Sarah continued, her voice steady despite Zexthul's constant interruptions. "Weak hide. Our spine piercers would—" "I understand," Sarah interrupted gently, her smile never wavering. "But I haven't shown you Earth's deadliest creature yet." This gave Zexthul pause, his compound eyes fixed on her with predatory intensity. "Oh, and what terrifying beast could your soft little world possibly harbor that would impress the dominion of Cathara?" Sarah clicked to the next slide. The image that appeared was small, almost insignificant against the black background. The assembled council members leaned forward, their various sensory organs straining to make sense of what they were seeing. "This," Sarah announced, "is Anopheles gambiae, the female Anopheles mosquito." Silence filled the chamber for several seconds before Zexthul's laughter erupted, a harsh chittering sound that echoed off the crystalline walls. Several other council members joined in with their species equivalent of mirth. "That?" Zexthul wheezed between laughs. "That tiny speck? Human. I could crush 1,000 of those without noticing. My larvae are larger than that creature." Sarah's smile widened slightly. "Size isn't everything, Ambassador. This little speck has killed more humans than every war, every natural disaster, and every other predator in our planet's history combined. Conservative estimates put the death toll at over 50 billion humans across our civilization's existence." The laughter died down, but Zexthul remained unimpressed. "Impossible. How could something so insignificant—" "Disease," Sarah said simply. "She carries malaria, yellow fever, dengue, Zika virus, chikungunya, and a dozen other pathogens. She's not just a predator, she's a weapon of mass destruction with wings. She's evolution's perfect assassin, designed to slip past every defense and deliver death with surgical precision." The council members exchanged glances. The voidlings whispered, among themselves in harmonics only they could hear. Zexthul, however, remained skeptical. "Your species has survived, clearly. How deadly could this creature truly be?" Sarah reached into her specimen case and withdrew a small containment unit. Through the transparent aluminum, a single mosquito could be seen hovering inside. "This particular female carries an engineered strain of cerebral malaria, modified by our biological warfare division before such weapons were banned by galactic treaty. The mortality rate is 97%. Death occurs within 72 hours and is unpleasant." "You're bluffing," Zexthul snarled, though something in his tone suggested uncertainty. Sarah set the container on the podium. "Ambassador, your exoskeleton is impressive, but I notice you have several breathing spiracles along your thorax. Your joints, while armored, do have softer tissue at the connections. This mosquito could easily find a way in." "Human trickery." Zexthul stood to his full 3-meter height. "I have conquered the death worlds of 7 systems. I have hunted the void stalkers of deep space. You think I would fear some insignificant pest?" "Not fear," Sarah said, her voice taking on a dangerous edge that made several council members step back. "Respect. You see, Ambassador, you've spent this entire presentation mocking our world, our species, our capabilities. You see weakness where you should see adaptability, fragility where you should see resilience. She gestured to the containment unit. Humans don't survive because we're the biggest or the strongest. We survive because we've learned to coexist with creatures like this. We've turned our greatest enemy into our greatest teacher. We've studied her, learned from her, and ultimately, learned to use her. Zexthol's mandibles clicked nervously. What are you implying? Sarah's smile was now predatory in a way that made the assembled aliens uncomfortable. I'm not implying anything. I'm offering you a choice. You can acknowledge that perhaps Earth's deadliest creature deserves your respect, or she reached toward the containment unit's release mechanism. Or you can prove how superior you are by letting her bite you. Just once. After all, what harm could such a tiny, insignificant creature possibly do to the mighty Zexthol? The chamber fell silent except for the barely audible hum of the containment unit's systems. Every council member watched as Zexthol's compound eyes fixed on the tiny winged form inside. For a long moment, pride warred with survival instinct across his alien features. His mandibles worked silently as he processed the implications of what the human was offering. Finally, his shoulders sagged almost imperceptibly. Perhaps, he said slowly, I may have underestimated the lethality of your world's fauna. Sarah's smile returned to its original warmth as she sealed the containment unit and returned it to her case. That's all I wanted to hear, Ambassador. You see, the deadliest creatures aren't always the ones with the biggest teeth or claws. Sometimes they're the ones you never see coming. As she packed up her materials, she added casually, Oh, and Ambassador, that mosquito isn't actually carrying the engineered malaria strain. But the fact that you couldn't tell the difference? That's what makes humans dangerous. We've learned that sometimes the threat of a weapon is more powerful than the weapon itself. Zexthol sank back into his chair, his exoskeleton suddenly feeling far less protective than it had an hour ago. Around the chamber, the other council members made careful notes in their databases, each adding a new entry. Earth's deadliest creature, Anopheles gambiae. Handle with extreme caution. Do not underestimate, but more importantly, they added another note. Humans, do not underestimate. Sarah Chen gathered her materials and walked out of the chamber, leaving behind a room full of aliens who would never again look at humanity quite the same way. After all, any species that could weaponize their own extinction was not to be taken lightly. Outside, she smiled to herself as she made a mental note to thank the entomology department for that very realistic holographic mosquito.